magically appear on the screen. Welcome back to HGC Korea Crucibles for phase number 2 going into 2018 soon. And RRR, the team from HGC, they are down 0-2. What a surprise rally.
And it is not only surprising because RR has been worse than we would expect them to be, but also because Winners is really, really good right now. Their plays, especially from their main tank Gaming, simply amazing. I mean, there are no other words to sort of try to explain how this might be happening. There's a very simple explanation. They're just playing very well.
Yes, their team fight potential is crazy, and we already know, we explained what RR tried to do because they have been losing the team fight, which is a big stress for them. So they went with the globals, but they ended up not really using their globals at all. By the time they tried to push with the Haka top, right wing mid, they were down a key, and they went straight for the core because also Winners, they know that if they go late game, maybe they will have some comeback mechanics with the global. They went straight to the core, and that was the end. 9 minutes and 37 seconds, I believe, in game 2 in Cursed Hollow.
So it was confusing last game, particularly, well, before we went into that game, we actually sort of liked the draft. We liked RR's draft because we thought that RR had understood that perhaps going for the straight of 5v5s via double support might not have been the best idea against this open division team. So, okay, they're reverting back to their original strategies of trying to out macro the opposition team. But unfortunately, it didn't work out. So let's see if they have changed their approach for this map.
Yeah, we had some time off, but we are ready to jump into game 3 draft. I believe the map is Infernal Shrines. Let's go into it. And it is Infernal Shrine, right wing bent again, just like in game number 1. This feels like now a self-ban of what we actually call.
Yeah, the Brightwing didn't do very much in the last game for those of you who haven't watched. In fact, it was very underwhelming of a pick. So, slightly confusing to see R continue to prioritize it so heavily, but hopefully they don't go for the first pick Genji or anything like that, because if anything, I believe the worst performing player out of all the players today is Kong on that Genji. A lot of questionable dashes, a lot of questionable mistakes were made in the past 2 games.
The new meta, what they are trying to... They have been picking up, of course, Brightwing came in super heavily into HGC playoff, but not at all from the Open Division Korea. So I think that there's a big gap difference here, but Winners is taking the team fight win most of the time, but of course Ariel, when that's open, when they actually ban Garrosh themselves, that's kind of interesting here.
Very interesting, and it hasn't been a long time since we've seen Ariel on the Nexus, but I believe that only holds true for the Open Division because Open Division teams have been a little bit more lenient with Ariel in the past, I believe, whereas in HGC it's pretty much banned in every
single time.
Yeah,
every single time. And when it was not banned, you were basically punished for not banning Ariel most of the time. And I believe, like, let's say, just throw a number out there. I'm pretty sure 98 out of 100. What we said is basically came true for HGC Korea, phase number 2 especially. So Ariel picked up by RRR, they will have a better time sustaining healing. Of course, more likely they will also have an auto attack now along with that.
Something to think about also is that we never really saw RR play successfully or even just play with anything with a hypercarry dependent on Ariel, right? We haven't seen RR really run that kind of Vala Ariel hypercarry composition that is so standard when you first pick Ariel. So I don't know who's going to be playing that Vala, but I hope that it isn't Kong. I mean, because think about it, like all of these players have great mechanics, and when they look bad, it's usually because they're having a bad day. And it's pretty clear that Kong is having a bad day right now, and they also have Odok on their team, who actually used to be their main Genji player as well as their main auto attack assassin player, and he has been pretty reliable in all of their past games in Phase 2. So I would really like to see Oda pick up that responsibility.
Yeah, oftentimes when HGC EDD was on the task star, take a look, of course, Ariel and Vala, as you mentioned, Oda oftentimes, and Kong went to a tank role in this case because when they have hyper carry. But for that hyper carry, they were willing to give up Morales once more. And Morales, who was it? I believe Seukang was playing.
I think so.
Was playing Morales this entire game, and his positioning and how he kept up his teammates alive all the time and sustained himself with the medivac, not going down at all. I don't think he died even maybe once in game 1. And after that, just solid gameplays.
So if winners were to go the standard double support route again in this game, a lot of things they could go for. I think the obvious go-to, if we were to think about this in terms of the HGC Korea meta, would be Lucio here. Makes perfect sense into what RR is setting up for. But winners, they've been trying out different things so far. They had great success with Rehgar Medic in the first game, so we might be seeing that again as well. We could also be seeing some kind of Cassia, and because that's such a great answer to Vala generally.
Against the Vala, got some buff onto auto tag. Also, the blinds extra damage will be there. Even got buffed also. And ETC having that CC, just locking that in sometimes counters the double support. And just having the double support dancing in the back line, that acts like a double cocoon in a way for such a long. And when you have Sonya, when you have burst damage, Vala will be insta-deleted. Even with that one spear, with Poison Spear talent at 7, Vala will go down instantly to half health.
And if we were to assume that Gamey will be playing that ETC, it will bring back so many good memories about Power League Season 2 and so on and so forth, because Gamey has been around in this scene, around the amateur scene, for a very long time now. And I distinctly remember star players such as Hyde on Tempest praising Gamey for his pretty nice mechanics and overall skill, particularly on frontline heroes. So I'm glad to see him gaining some real recognition here today.
Okay, and Johanna, and this is the patch that we're talking about. That Johanna got a crazy buff on the max HP, and I believe we're going to see Blessed Shield most likely, of course. But with that buff, I think she can sustain a lot more. She was seeing so much as a good counter against the ETC so many times. But even with that buff, and this is a map where you need the wave clear. When you're fighting on the shrine, you need that kind of CC, multiple damage, AoE damage. Nerfed Karazim, okay. Have not seen Karazim for a while.
Pretty interesting to see that, and I believe the general idea behind this pick of the Karazim is that we sort of need more damage to burst through those tanks, but we also really want to play double support, so let's just go for the Karazim. I believe the Karazim will probably take 7-sided as well.
Let's see, lots of damage and hyper carry Vala from RRR, but Winners is leading this series 2-0. It is best of 7. Let's go into game number 3. Tricked you guys there. We're starting from the right this time. From the red, Winners, of course, leading 2-0. Lots of blinds and lots of CCs for both sides. I guess a lot less for RRR.
Overall, I believe it's going to ride a lot on the sheer mechanical abilities of the Vala on RRR's side. And contrary to our wishes, I believe the setup that RR has chosen for tonight will continue, with Kong being on that Vala.
And it is a Q Vala. A very interesting choice coming out when you have Ariel The moment you take Q with Aureo, sometimes the chat starts and game explodes at level 1. But not in this game. And I'm pretty sure the blinds will be... I think that's the reason why, because there's a blind on the other side. Cassia there, of course, will be a big tool. So you want to go with that skill shot damage.
And generally, like, throughout this game, like, the games tonight, it seems like RR has been trying to pull off an L5 impression at literally every single opportunity possible in their rotations, in their execution of team fights, in terms of their drafts. And, you know, all of these are very classic L5 drafts. And if you think about the last few weeks of HGC Korea, Vala, SCSC has been playing so much Q Vala, regardless of the surrounding circumstances. So I believe that's going to be pretty interesting in how things move forward. And now we see not too much action going on in the early minutes of the game, contrary to what happened last game, in which winners made a 3-man rotation and pushed down the walls of the top lane, and RR did not respond in the proper way.
Well, let's see. This time they have pretty good idea of the map and how they made the team come around. Tran actually spawning at the bottom for the first time. Kind of interesting after the Leoric rework. Leoric is super powerful, so strong against all the solo lane if you can get all those skill shots. Even Sonya's having a tough time in the bottom lane right now.
Overall, I would say that I definitely like the Leoric rework. His strengths and weaknesses overall, I think, have been more pronounced following the rework, which is usually something that makes drafts more interesting in general. So he might be even stronger now than he used to be, but I like it when heroes have that kind of characteristics.
Big blind come in, the Cassia is doing tons of damage, but they are getting pushed out mainly because of Ario's healing. Take a look, is healing the AoE. That's why they're stuck together. MSG going so low, get the shields, going to survive for the moment.
This is a really double support versus double support team fight, isn't it? Like, even when the heroes are going low, we don't get excited because we know that no one's probably going to die right now, at least without their heroics. So overall, RR got the first Punisher. Nice move by them. Winners respond to the Punisher accordingly. And the bleeding should be stopped at the outer wall.
And not too much done, of course. If you leave that Trinity alone, they will push super hard. And they do have the right tools on the in the other lanes. Johanna, Leoric, pretty good wave clear, also can sustain for a long time. And let's see how that buff comes into this game after watching the first one from Korea with the Johanna buff onto this patch. Of course, Anna banned because this was supposed to happen last weekend. So I think they're keeping the exact same patch for all players, for all regions.
That's the right competitive decision to make, although it would have been interesting to see a bit of Anna going on in competitive play.
We may actually see first competitive banana Anna here, but no, not this time and not today, tomorrow either. But keep giving us feedbacks. We lowered the volume onto the game sound a little bit also after watching the chat. So there goes another team fight. Of course, Kerosene will survive, but that Kerosene got a big nerf on his healing. Even a little more mana cost. Also, the cooldown went up by 2 seconds, I believe. And that's really costing Kerosene a lot. And his level 1 talent still needs some more work to do, I think.
Yeah, overall, I wasn't a big fan of the Kerosene nerfs. Although, like, technically between the Ana patch and the Ana balance patch, there was a buff. So I guess they are sort of nerf buffs. But overall, they were nerf. And this might be because I used to really enjoy playing Kerosene, but overall Blizzard seems to be going in a direction that sort of, you know, weakens the overall power of double supports, and that obviously has to involve, you know, tuning down supports in general. So
I'm a big fan of not no more double support, but a lot less double support will be very likely more enjoyable for me to watch personally too. But as we have not much going on. we do have to talk about some other things at the same time, but oh, Tears of Poison. Look at that poison damage. It's half HP gone just like that.
Zanya is such an enjoyable hero to watch right now overall.
And okay, Morales was healing a full HP ETC for 4 seconds. But on to Cassia.
Overall, it feels like winners are very determined to not really take these team fights head on, at least until they get access to their heroics, which feels like the correct choice to make.
That's right, they are pushing. Seems like RR is getting pushed out, but the number difference is huge, 16 right now, so they can just tap onto the fountain, get some heals back from Ariel, and just poke some out, and they will be winning the Shrine fight.
Still 13 ahead on the side of RRR, and due to this being a very double supporty team fight, not too much casualties going on.
Big line coming in. Karazim actually gets stunned onto the middle of the shrine there.
That could have been dangerous, but in the end, it all works out for both teams. I don't think winners expected to take the shrine back, and RR probably just wanted the Punisher, so overall, went about as expected. Clean play from Gemi to bring the Punisher over the outer wall.
Sometimes even as an ETC, I love ETC player, but even when you try to power slide, you do get stunned from the Punisher. It's not really super easy to do so, just like this. And that seems like a G-Clap ETC there. But that also seems like a G-Clap ETC. MSG will get caught, but will not be going down, as Cycloak is still holding some hopes for the healing. They hit 10 though. They want to turn this around with a strafe onto Entomb now. Let's see.
Power of double support in full fashion.
But are they going to go down? The heal comes in at the perfect time. Now here comes Oda from the side. He's trying to turn this around.
Oh, level 10 came in just a half a second late for winners. If they had access to their heroics, they probably could have survived one. And as we talked about, Karazim instantly locks in the 7-sided. That's what I'm seeing on my screen. So winners will be much more confident about taking these team fights on. And overall, well played by RR, but that could have definitely turned on its head. Because as we were talking about, if Karazim had used 7-sided at the very last second, that team fight could have looked entirely different.
If he went in, I think they were waiting for that tap moment, but just could not position themselves to be ready for that moment. If they were ready and had the shot calling of, okay, we can respond, we can react to this with our own 10, then they could have actually got more kills, I guess, at least a double with the 7-sided along with a dash for Karazim.
Something to mention is that Stim Drone was taken, and considering the fact that, oh, well, that was a waste of an Entomb.
Well, I guess to invade into a camp, it's worth it. The cool time's not... Well, it's a little more than before, a long time ago, but still okay.
It got reverted back to 60 seconds, if I'm correct, so overall, not too much of a loss. But anyway, to go back to my previous point, Stim Drone taken, and Entomb is there, and also no Divine Palm, so that means that Morales will have to be really careful about her positioning, and one good Entomb could catch Morales in an unavoidable situation.
Yes, and I think that's the time where we will see ETC. Oftentimes we see crowd server at 4 when there's an Entomb on the other side, but not in this case for Gemi, as he is focusing a little bit more onto his W. Here comes the number in favor of winners for now. 7-sided. Perfect Aegis to respond. MSG will go down regardless.
That was a really good Aegis, but that was not enough to stem the tides of damage coming in from winners. And overall, Vala looks really powerless in these kinds of fights, right? It's not only everything, but oh wow. So very questionable decision to spear in like that.
Dives in alone when Morales was all the way in the back. Karazim couldn't respond along with the dash. Even Johanna is very low, but this is insane as Karazim dashes out and saved himself. Johanna goes down, but Stim Drone Cassia will survive this after all those damage. But winners, they will lose the next Punisher. RRR does take it, but some questionable individual mechanics here in that team fight.
I mean, that has to be a breakdown in communication, probably unintended, of course, because up until that point, Winners were completely in control of that team fight, getting primed to take the Punisher, but then one spear undoes all that work. Kong is in trouble here, though. This is a good spear. Look at that damage.
It even has to be ancestral. Maybe that's not going to be enough. Not ancestral ages. Kong survives.
Oh, no!
Let's get taken out with the last lightning ball damage.
Deca, look, what are you doing?
He bounced the pole.
Oh God, that was
not a
so
sacrificing
bad.
Support.
That was so bad. Wow. Well,
You know the feeling? You're playing right next to him, and when you make that kind of mistake, you're like, do I have to say sorry? And like, I do have, maybe I do have to say sorry and just say it, man. That's right next to you. Oh man, those kind of plays will hurt the team if you don't have the right communications, right?
mistakes were made. I don't know, man. Well, but still, are in the driver's seat for this one. Despite that horrible individual mechanical play, they're still up in structure, still ahead in experience, and so far, they have been ahead overall in team fights as well, although that was sort of peppered by the misplays on Winner's side.
Oh, let's see that. But of course, did went in favor of Winners, but after that, not really controlling the macro. Sonya is already on top, trying to push the top lane as they want to take some more EXP for themselves. They are down quite almost to full level now.
Yeah, and to ease up on my comments about Decalux's bad play there, overall his Aegis this game have been amazing. So, I mean, a regrettable mistake, but a forgivable one. Like,
I also believe Kong actually ran into Ariel for a second at the end, so there was some synergy. I guess if you can actually call that synergy.
Negative synergy.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah, I missed them too. Well, there we go, and the
Australian
camp
memes.
controlled, and the top shrine will be coming up very soon. The thing is, both does not have a fountain. Actually, Odak just going to make a noblesse move here and just
Are we going to fill up this cast with teams that were breaking up players who has left the scene? Like, are we going down that route now?
No, I'm sorry.
Do we get to talk about MVP Sky, MVP Brown, right? They were called MVP Brown before they were called MVP Sky. Fun fact.
Brown?
Yeah, like I have no idea whose head that came out of from, but I hope he or she never makes a team name again. But still, fun fact.
Oh, fun fact for him. From Rally, round 1. We'll have more rounds coming up as we have 4 supports in the game as usual. Just rotating around the map. And ETC actually pushed in super hard. Maybe they were just waiting for 16. They were trying to make a move here. Gamey is just on the other side. MSG will basically go down alone, but still a very good room for them to chase here as they have 28 already picked up. All the heroics locked in.
Overall, that was a really nice and clean decision from Winners to burst down the Lyric like that. A lot of those opportunities opened themselves up to teams, but Karazim is in trouble.
That mosh pit potential, but cancelled from Decalux. Nicely done.
The lack of Divine Palm might have hurt him, but still manages to stay alive thanks to Medic's healing beam. But Lyric now up again, really good in Tomb.
Oh, and Karazim is stuck. No dash to escape from here. ETC, Morales can only heal one and rush. So much damage from the back. This is insane. Kong is basically just doing free damage in this chase.
That was really good from RR to execute the team fight like that. Not so much for Winners. A lot of questionable mistakes were made, especially from Gamey of all people. The Mosh decision was not the correct one. But overall, I think the situation, how it started, it all started with Karazim going in for the very greedy fists. So, I don't know, that may have cost them this keep. For sure, and perhaps the game.
The Punisher will be going straight to the keep, and it may just be more. Seems like they want the pressure in, as Mosh Pit is still available. Cassia Sonya just came back into this game, and Punisher is now making his way to the keep. Let's see how they defend this one.
Gamey caught out, and he has no crowd surfer, remember?
Still stuck there, but no damage to follow that up.
Double
Seems
support.
like they want to actually... Yeah, it seems like they just want to have this keep down, not really damaging and going into the core, so they want to change this. Nicely done. Blessed Shield drop down from Johanna.
Gamey needs to be careful, but he will escape scathed, but alive.
RR actually committed a lot of those heroics just to secure the keep. Their plan, it seemed like they wanted to go for core for a moment, but if you're leading, why take the risk? If you're leading so far, just take the macro. You got the keep. Now you control the macro. When you hit 20, I think that's the mark they're looking for.
I don't know what RR did in the break. It was a pretty long break, remember? But something happened, and they look so much better than they looked in the last 2 games. Communication on point, and the lack of greed in the top push right there, really reminiscent of their good games in HGC Korea Phase 2. So it's looking like this will not be a sweep or a stomp after all.
Let's see. Winners, they still have a window here as RR is about to hit 20. They need to make an engagement. Now seems like they're going in. Gamey does lock to get some Taurus Glide, but dead in tune for a second. Okay, Gamey has to calm his focus, and Vala goes down. No damage whatsoever. Even Pastor is so low. Has to shield herself there.
After a series of entombs that were so good, that one entomb.
Entombing Vala.
Oh god.
For a second I was about... Let's see, okay, still... Okay, game's not over. That was a big mistake, of course, as everyone notices. And this will be probably a key, but RR will still be hitting that 20 mark. I think they have enough time to defend their own core. Let's see how far Winners wants to actually make this push into.
Considering Winners' aggressiveness in this series in general, they might want to open up a team fight right after they finish off this keep even. Gamey is certainly posturing as if he would have gone in had there been an opening.
Seems like they want to go back for a second as RR is about to hit 20 and the next shrine is coming up. So they want to just control the macro. Okay, keep for a keep down. That's an even trade. About the same in the macro. We can take this back because we got the momentum. Because they were the ones, the opponent team was the one that made a crucial mistake in that team fight.
Overall, this should be the team fight to pretty much decide the game even. Because considering how these teams have been going at it for the duration of tonight's match, like, they don't back off easily. When double support team fights go on and someone starts dying, they all start
They want
dying.
to commit in. There's a big silence, and even stun onto ETC cannot escape. Has to use the storm to save Dash. And 7-sided in panic there to save himself. And they do hit 20.
Electric Ball is getting insane value. All of the bounces, every single one dealing massive damage. It still hasn't ended just now.
There's
and a really good mosh.
And a mosh pit on 2. Perfect Ario. And that's maybe this game they can just walk straight to the bottom and go to the core. I think they will just that. This Punisher is going to the keep, but it doesn't even matter. Seems like Winners are about to take game number 3 also.
This will 100% be game, and Gamey atones for his failed mosh pit in the top lane that happened at level 16, allowing RR to seriously get back into the match. Pulls off a fantastic move right there. And RRR, they've been looking great in this match up until that point. This has to be seriously demoralizing.
Linking back mechanics and Gamey just linking Mosh with Ariel. They're locking in the win for themselves. He is a god in this team right now. 3-0. This has not happened in any Crucible in any region so far. For a challenger team to be defeating an HGC team down this far.
And did you look at their faces right there?
They look like crazy moving. Like, oh man, feels bad.
R looks destroyed, and whereas Winners, I mean, even they look surprised at how that game ended.
They have to keep their name up there, you know. As it's a spoiler for everyone, they are the winners, and I think we are going there very soon. We may have, well, I believe UN also had one of the teams going up to HGC from Open Division. Maybe today we'll have a Korean team going up into 2018 HGC just like this with a 4-0, you know?
It's unbelievable how winners are, managing to keep up the pace. And something that we have to think about is amateur teams. When we talk about just amateur teams across esports in general, they always lack seriously compared to most professional teams in two regards, right? One, in the amount of practice that they put in, and which leads to their being a little bit under-strategized and so on and so forth. And second, their mentality, because they don't have much experience playing in a LAN setting. But winners, even when they were behind, even when the start of that team fight, remember, it looked like they were going to lose. The silence was massive. The tune was really good, but they kept their heads in the right place, manages to turn around the team fight, and Gaming just finishes the game with that.
They were positioning inside the shrine because their Sonya was away. They were not too closely in. They knew that RRR was about to make an engage because of that factor. And I think they backed up at the right time. The damage was just not enough. And Kong's positioning, he was attacking those shrine minions for a few seconds. I think that could have been enough damage before Karazim and ETC power slide and dash it out. If that could have been a kill, I think the story could have been indifferent right after game 3. But that's it. And even the Crucible was not needed. He knew that he had enough healing coming out from Morales, just trusting his teammate. I think that's the big story, and we did not see a single death on Morales once more.
Yeah, her or his, rather, since the player is a male. Yeah, but anyway, the positioning from this medic throughout this match was absolutely amazing, and we also have to praise winners, presence of mind to last pick Karazim in that draft. I believe that picking up Karazim right there and taking 7-sided in particular, not a heroic that we see too many times nowadays. Even when Karazim is utilized in double support compositions, nowadays we see more Divine Palm than 7-sided, but winners really took the right heroic for their style of play and utilized it perfectly in most situations save one.
And Cassia survived for such a long time because they have Morales. They were trusting in Morales' positioning and the healing. It was, of course, it can't be perfect, but that was enough. And having those armor, and I think Morales is the key to winners right now, which RRR should have known from game number 1 along with Garrosh. I don't think it's just the hero pool from Gaming you should be targeting. I think you should be targeting Morales, even stealing that away or banning from the very beginning. The Brightwing ban, and what was the third game ban? I believe something else from RRR.
The second rotation or
the first rotation?
The first rotation was still Brightwing, which was terrible. So I understand why you would want to forget about it.
And I'm joking from Brightwing bans, but we are ready to jump into game number 4. Maybe the